goes faster and faster.
20 years ago, MotoGP had a name for a very special group of riders. We called them the Aliens: Valentino Rossi, Casey Stoner, Jorge Lorenzo, Dani Pedrosa, and Marc Márquez. They weren't called aliens simply because they won races. They were called aliens because they could do things the rest of the grid simply could not do. Today, look at MotoGP. The screens are incredibly close. Every rider is capable of riding at an incredibly high level. So what happened? So today, let's ask, have the aliens disappeared, or has MotoGP become so technically advanced that extraordinary riders have fewer opportunities to look extraordinary? I'm not saying today's riders are less talented, far from that. I actually think today's grid may be the strongest that we have ever seen. But MotoGP has changed. Technology has narrowed the gaps between the bikes. Aerodynamics, electronics, and data have narrowed the gap between the riders substantially. So when does extraordinary talent still make the difference? Well, this weekend at Sachsenring, the German Grand Prix, round 11, we may get our answer. Because if there's one rider who still can produce what I call alien behaviour, it's Marc Márquez. Welcome back to With Antone, MotoGP. So what makes an alien? Let's define what alien actually was. Not simply a faster rider, as we've said. An alien could ride around problems, and they solve problems that no one else could. Examples like Rossi winning on tyres that everybody else had destroyed, Stoner controlling impossible rear slides, Lorenzo producing relentless pace lap after lap, and Pedrosa, what a magician going through corners with corner speed. Márquez, he could save crashes that would have ended most other riders in the gravel. Alien talent wasn't just speed, it was making what we think is impossible look like a normal ride. But what about MotoGP? Why has it changed, and why don't we see performances like that so often today? Well, quite simply, MotoGP has evolved, and today's bikes, well, they're the best ever, they're extraordinary. Aerodynamics, huge stability and front end grip. Ride height devices, maximizing acceleration. Electronics help riders deliver consistent corner exits, and teams can analyze huge amount of data. Satellite bikes now receive machinery that is incredibly close to factory bikes. The gap between motorcycles has become so much more smaller, and the operating window has become so much more tighter. When every rider has a similar bike, similar data, and similar technology, the stopwatch will naturally become a lot closer. Look, today's riders haven't become less talented. The sport has simply reduced the opportunities for extraordinary talent to separate itself. But then there's Marc Márquez, and despite all this Marc Márquez love, he's still the one rider capable of reminding us what alien behaviour looks like. And nowhere will demonstrate that better than Sachsenring. If you want to know what an alien can still do in the aero era, just watch this weekend. But all this love, we need a bit of evidence. So let's look at the numbers. MotoGP victories: 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2021, and 2025. That's 9 victories and 12 victories across all of the Grand Prix classes. All on different motorcycles, all on different tyres, all competing against different riders, all in different eras. Yet the same result. Now that's no confidence, that is extraordinary talent repeatedly making the difference. Okay, why does this happen at Sachsenring? The circuit rewards confidence more than almost any other, and it's got 10 left-hand corners. Márquez loves going left, and only 3 right-hand corners. Long, loaded left-hand corners with blind entries and elevation changes. Look at turn 11, the waterfall. If you haven't watched, check out turn 11. Now, Marc has always been exceptional at carrying speed and confidence on left-hand corners. Some circuits, they reward just horsepower, some just reward aerodynamics, but Sachsenring rewards rider confidence. And that's why Marc has always been so exceptional there. So the bigger question, so maybe the aliens haven't disappeared. Maybe MotoGP has become so technically refined that extraordinary riders have less opportunities to demonstrate that. But every now and then, one circuit allows genius to shine. And this weekend, Sachsenring is the circuit. If Marc dominates this weekend, he'll equal Agostini's record of 13 victories at a single track. Perhaps this weekend we'll be reminded that talent can still overcome technology. Look, other action that's happening in the paddock, KTM has got a brand new direction. Marc Márquez and Fabio Gianantonio, they're leading KTM's future, both announced as factory riders. And the manufacturer, of course, this will be a major reset. This, for me, is not a question of those guys' talent. It's whether the constant change in KTM will help them build a championship winning team. Or does this simply restart the cycle again? And for me, the biggest question for both of those riders is, can their careers survive at KTM? Now, traditionally, Sachsenring, Ducati's own Sachsenring. So you've got to ask about Pecco Bagnaia. History says it belongs to Marc, but maybe Pecco can certainly make a challenge. I'm going to make a prediction for this weekend, and surprise, surprise, you've just been listening. I think it's Marc Márquez to win. History, confidence, and a circuit characteristics that all point in the same direction. That's, for me, he will be standing on top of the box. I think from Pecco Bagnaia, and hopefully Bez, if he can mentally handle the thoughts around him that he could win the title, maybe he can put it on the box as well. But watch out for Jorge Martin. He's been quick there. He had an unfortunate retirement, but the championship leader could be well doing a great performance at Sachsenring. But what do you think? What do you think? Do you think MotoGP has lost its aliens? Or maybe do you think technology has advanced so much that the extraordinary riders now have those fewer opportunities that we explained? And KTM, what about this new lineup? Do you think it's going to be work for them? Do you think that that'll deliver the wins that they're really desperate for, and even the MotoGP title? And don't forget, if there's one place left where an alien can still remind us of where you get that nickname, I think it's this weekend at Sachsenring. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this week's episode, give us a like. If you're new here, hello, why don't drop us a subscription and share the video around? It really helps the channel. Okay, enjoy the GP racing this weekend, and I look forward to talking to you again real soon. Okay, bye for now.
Faster and